You're listening to our in-person guest star, Charlie Byrd. My name is George Fenneman, and this is Jazz Unlimited. Your United States Navy and Naval Reserve welcome you to Jazz Unlimited. With us each week are the outstanding vocal and instrumental stars on the jazz scene. They'll bring you your musical favorites and offer a few personal observations as we engage in some informal talk. So then, let's meet this week's star of Jazz Unlimited, Charlie Byrd. It just so happens that we've got a veritable giant as our guest today. Right, Charlie?
5'8", George.
Well, this will probably be embarrassing for you, so you don't have to comment, Charlie, but this bird's got more musicianship in his little finger than a room full of 9-foot, four-handed musical giants. See? Charlie's embarrassed.
No, I'm just checking my little finger. It's not so little.
Well, stop checking and show the folks what all 10 fingers can do with that pretty butterfly. Charlie Byrd, Pretty Quintet, and Butterfly. On second look, that's a pretty butterfly. The quintet's not so much to look at. Let's turn our attention to some of the world's great women. I mean the student and registered nurses whose knowledge, training, and compassion entitles them to be commissioned officers in the United States Navy. Because of the Navy's important role in our country's efforts to win peace, more of you nurses are needed. Your skill and tenderness are needed in the care of the sick and the wounded. As a Navy nurse, your patriotism is rewarded not only by the pride you'll experience in serving your country, but by the opportunities you'll have to work in modern hospitals with the latest facilities and equipment. For over half a century, dedicated young women have shared in the active and useful life offered to them in the Navy Nurse Corps. More than ever, the opportunity for you nurses, student nurses too, to help your country and sharpen your own professional knowledge is wide open. See your Navy recruiter or write Navy Nurse, Washington, D.C., 20390. That's Navy Nurse, Washington, D.C., 20390. If you're going to be something, why not be something special? Say, Charlie, I'm sorry for what I said about the quintet.
Forget it, George.
Well, they're a fine-looking group. I like them a lot.
Sure, I understand.
Will you stop pouting and tell us what they're going to play for us now?
This guy's in love with you.
Well, Charlie, you're here straight from your performance at the White House, aren't you? They elected to have you come there and...
George, you've got the wrong guy. You're thinking of Dick Nixon.
Well, that's right. He's doing a thing at the White House, isn't he? But you did yours, too, didn't you?
Now that we've brought up the subject, it was twice. It makes a big difference if they ask you back, you know.
It was President and Mrs. Johnson who asked, right?
We Byrds stick together. You see, Mrs. Johnson sponsored a recital for the families of the congressmen in 1964, and then we were invited again, thank goodness, in 1967 for a state dinner.
Well, you know what that means. Lady Byrd likes Charlie Byrd.
If Lady Byrd is listening, that goes for me, too. And what's more, I know a groovy quartet that likes Texas.
Oh, you work ranches, huh?
Why not? Love that informal atmosphere.
No tuxes in Texas, huh? Now, before we start the barbecue, Charlie, would you explain what Wichita lineman is all about?
Why don't we just tap his line and listen in?
That's Charlie Byrd telling you all about the Wichita lineman. So now you know. Did you know that Navy nurses help care for Navy personnel and their families in all our 50 states, in foreign lands, and even on board ships sailing the high seas? Yes, the student and registered nurses who decide to go Navy not only get the opportunity to travel and learn, but they become commissioned officers as well, with worldwide assignments. Serve your country and your fellow man. See your Navy recruiter or write Navy Nurse, Washington, D.C., 20390. If you're going to be something, why not be something special? Now to the rich and wealthy. Tell us about that, Charlie. Isn't that terrific? If I were a rich man. Well, I wish I could do some more terrific things for us, Charlie.
Then stop twisting my arm.
That's just our way of saying there's no more time. But let's visit again sometime, shall we?
As soon as my arm heals.
With Charlie Byrd as our special guest, this has been Jazz Unlimited, a public service presentation of this station and your United States Navy and Naval Reserve. This is George Fenneman, inviting you to be on deck as we present more of the giants of jazz week after week. So join us on Jazz Unlimited. And remember, if you're going to be something, why not be something special?